quotes from USDA.
It's federal government, and that's just their expertise. And really, it's immaterial because you can roll it over. If anything, there's no prepayment on it.
But with the game plan, we need to roll it over. 4 years is a long time.
Yes, I
Would there be
agree.
an actual plan in place to say that, you know, 20
That's
years
up.
is the useful life? I'm not making me understand.
That's why we're broke.
This is what happened with the water department. They went out for a 40-year loan and they did, like down on Baptist Common Road, they did the water extensions and upgraded the system there. They did a 40-year loan. So it puts the department behind the 8 ball, because if the useful life is 20, 25 years and you're still paying on that loan for 40
When
years,
something else.
when something else breaks,
Right.
and they have been breaking. So
So it makes sense what you're saying.
I just want us to be aware of it and cognizant of that, because this is, we don't have money to go out to buy bond right now. We don't have a bond rating. So it's just to make sure that we are aware as a board that there are some pitfalls.
And one thing I'd like to add too is the quote, low interest loan portion of the grant loan funding isn't normally that low. USDA, the federal government sets it pretty high. So I believe in the case of Route 68, and it would probably happen down here if we move forward, but that it would be rolled over into a 20, 25 year whatever, pooled with the rest of the town's debt, favorable rates.
Right. And I will say that the sewer department has consolidated some of their older debt and rolled it over and paid off some of it ahead of time. And there wasn't a penalty to do that. But it's just, we have to be aware, we've had financial practices that have gotten us into trouble before. So
Most definitely.
this is what we need to be aware of.
And I should also point out that board members may not be aware that this particular pump station is way over its useful life. Involved and most of the sewer in town, about 70% or 65%, that particular number is high. And it's in a floodplain. And if it fails and we get a leak over there, we stand to get some substantial fines from the federal government. But we really need to get moving on this.
We have had overflows there. When I first took over the department, they were pretty much like Old Faithful. You could almost count on it. We do accelerated routine maintenance of flushing down there now, but the problem is that the pipes are installed at minimum pitch. So if you have anything before that trunk line, grease, rags, whatever, they do build up, and all of a sudden they come down. Once they get in that minimum pitch trunk line, it forms a blockage, so you can literally flush it every day, and you're still going to have a vent. But we have, we used to get them probably 4 half a dozen times a year, and now we maybe get 1 a year at the most. So it's just one of a myriad reasons why it doesn't owe us anything. It really needs to be remedied.
Sorry, just to real quickly about the debt. I've gone to advisory boards of other towns, and they all have a debt schedule. And this debt schedule is much like we did with the capital plan, where it projects it out, and they can very easily see, oh, we have this debt, it's time to roll it over now. So it gives them a very visual projection of what's our overall debt and when should we be rolling it over into different terms. I've not ever seen that from here, but that's certainly something that we need is a debt schedule, and then react to that debt schedule, much like we need to do with the capital plan. And then if I recall right, from the first time we talked about this, the hesitation to move forward was the way the contract was written was the dollar amount was more than what was allocated or something like that. And we did ask council for an opinion that said that, and they came back, if I recall, and said that it was okay because it, it's only for a piece of the work and such. So I would agree that we need to move forward with that.
Just to follow up there, you will get, it's being worked on. You will get a debt schedule projecting out for the life of the bonds. It'll show the principal and interest payments year by year. for individual issues as well as the cumulative, which we need for budget planning purposes, because the amount that we pay for principal and interest every year does vary significantly, and especially when you retire a bond. So I have seen a chart that Matt has prepared on that, and it's not ready yet, but it will be ready for this budget process.
So is what we need to move forward to vote from the board is that, do I have a motion to move forward with the project as discussed?
So moved.
Is there a second? I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Anyone? Yes, sir.
I have a question. Is this being paid for by the sewer users? Is this a town-wide debt?
Yeah, the $125,000 at this point is earmarked from the sewer enterprise.
From the enterprise
Right.
fund? Okay.
Any other questions? If not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug? John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I will vote yes as well. So thank you very much for the work and for providing the information.
Thank you. So I'll just provide a copy of the contract to Holly, and she can, folks can sign it or
Well,
whatever.
I think the town administrator will sign it. Okay?
No, you can have them.
I do, I know.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Next on our agenda, we will go from the country minister to discuss putting up lights. I don't know if you want to take the floor here.
Yes, sir, from.
This sounds like such a little tiny.
We are celebrating our 30th anniversary for being in business. We spent 6 years across the other side of the common, I think 24 years on this side. And what I'd like to do this year is just put up white lights in our trees, oh, they're your trees. And we'll put our lights in your trees on my side of the common for a few months.
So just for anyone that couldn't hear, so the putting up the lights, the question is whether these would be lights that would be provided by the business, but they would go on the town's trees, so she would need permission for those lights, her electricity, to be one of our town trees.
And I'll be paying for more electricity, so that will.
I don't know how to light and water.
Yeah, don't get the LED kind of.
Yeah, the old ones from 1980. Are there any questions from?
So when are you going to do this again?
I would like to do this shortly. Our actual anniversary is the end of October, so I'd like to get them up for very soon, beginning of October, and leave them up for about 6 months just for our celebration, basically. Yeah, there's like three big, beautiful, hefty trees out there, so it depends on what I can afford for lights, to be honest with you, but that's my next step, actually, so see, what I can do for that.
I think anything that we can do to help encourage and support our town businesses obviously is something, and if, free usage of some town trees is all that you're asking for, I don't see like too much to do. So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to support putting the lights on the trees in the common.
Is there a second? Have a first and a second, any further discussion? If not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug? Yes. John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
The next item, which we have alluded to already and kind of mentioned in passing, was to discuss the mass broadband. I don't know if you covered everything that you wanted to during the report, or...
All except whether or not I should attend this conference from the 16th to the 18th. I was just looking at it again, and I can be here Monday, obviously, and I would miss one day, and you really don't miss a day, but you can do town business. Actually, 90% of what we do in our offices can be done anywhere in the world with a computer and a telephone. I mean, the face-to-face contact is often a small percentage of the work that we do. So, it looks like such a good conference, and especially since we are now going to be taking advantage of this offer they've given us, that I'll find a way to attend, at least for one day. Probably, certainly Thursday I can attend. Whether or not I attend on Wednesday would be, I'll have to take a careful look at what the program is.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I just want to comment that this is a really good new deal, and we need to take full advantage of it. I'd like to go to the conference, but I'll be at a conference in New Orleans that week, so unfortunately can't go.
Springfield.
There's no gumbo in Springfield either. So.
Tough decision, Doug. To Springfield.
Are there any other questions or anything we're going to discuss? If not, the next item that we have on the agenda is action on town offices moving to town hall. As the town administrator had, had said that all of the offices, obviously, that were located at 690 Patriots are now in the new town hall, the former East Templeton Elementary School. The plan is to move the rest of them, as you said, they're scheduled for early October to be moved, but there are issues, particularly with the clerk's office, which we do have the list of requirements to meet the vault, and it's the vault that's the ultimate, at least you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the vault that's the ultimate issue. There is a long list of requirements that the Secretary of State requires for town and city clerks to maintain those records.
I would just ask if you would look at the Secretary's requirements based upon statute and be prepared to vote on this, where to locate the vault at the next regular meeting. There's a lot to it. I mean, I'll send you a long letter on the options, and I think that's what we... Pardon? Include costs for the options, yes, yes.
You know, we don't have an endless supply of money.
No, I know.
I know.
So, if you want to say anything since you're here regarding above and beyond
Just that I have looked at my wall, and I do think that I can, right now it's 11 by 9 on the outside, and I think I could do like a 9 by 9.
okay.
Consolidate a few things. But ideally, if it could not be located in the basement for water purposes, and they do state that in there, that basements are not an ideal situation.
I have a question.
Sure.
In addition to the vault issue, I did go and see the vault. I've been over to the assessor's office, I've been to the Board of Health and the building department, and my travels, and knowing that we all need to be in one building. But it doesn't seem like space-wise, the clerk and the assessor will fit together. And then it does take me a while to process stuff. So you're gonna have a vault, and then I don't know, Carol has a lot of filing cabinets, and I believe that Luann does too, and you're gonna put all those in there, and you're gonna put desks in there, and you're gonna, so the stress, I mean, before it was children and desks, and is the floor fine? I think it's a legitimate question, and then how tight is that gonna be, it seems like no one wants, it doesn't seem appropriate to be in the basement.
No.
At all for any department, so we just lost the whole floor. So it just seems like there's a lot of issues, and cost-wise, to move, is it gonna cost more to move than it is to just heat for right now and logically move forward with, either, I don't know what else to do, but I just feel like, oh my gosh, like we're just gonna cram them all in there, and then what happens later, and it is a great place to be. It's the best place to be. How is that a viable solution? Because it really, when I looked at some plans today that Diana showed me, it's really tight. And again, it's not just the vault that'll be a stress on the floor. I don't know what they all have for files, period. And that's also weight on that floor.
All legitimate and important issues.
The treasurer and the tax collector together. I'm sorry, if I would have processed all that earlier, I would have said something, but you're thinking about it now, I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe it requires moving people from different rooms, or, it's been a lot of work, and it's been wonderful, but it's just a matter of when now we're down to pieces where just logically, does it make sense to do it right this second? Or, I mean, I know we have very limited funds too.
Now, all legitimate and important issues. We had a meeting this morning, and at the end of the meeting, my thought was to the clerk, you may be staying where you are a little longer than we expected.
It's really
Because
hard
there's a lot of thorny
when
issues
you go there and have
having
a
to do
walk.
with files and weight and location, as well as cost. And it's going to take a while to get those worked out, particularly since there's going to be a cost. And like some of the other problems we have at Town Hall, we haven't identified any funds at this point to cover these costs.
So maybe we need to know how much the heating cost is going to be, because that was a very pressing issue. And if we don't have the funds for that, then we need to find those funds to talk about where those.
I'll try and lay out
Sooner rather than later.
the problems as well as some options. Let's assume, for example, that the space issue is, as you say, which I think it is. It's very tight. We're then down to 4 departments. Actually, we have a location for the 5th, for the vets agent. That's not, we have 4 departments and 2 rooms. If we were to say the clerk may require one of those rooms entirely, then we have 3 departments in 1 room, so.
I understand. But
A lot of
again,
this is-
basement has now become not a viable option,
Yeah.
whereas before, I think that we thought we were going to utilize at both levels, and we're not. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not feasible for the vault to be down there. It's just, it's not.
I mean, I think we should take a look at why we can't make the downstairs usable. I mean, yes, it's got moisture, and we've done a lot of the drainage work outside. It's gonna move away that moisture. The fire seems to be a relatively good job at this point. I think, you know, rather than looking at the cost of adding another room onto the building, we need to funnel that cost into, let's make the downstairs usable. We've got the one big room that was the cafeteria, that is an excellent storage room. That room in the back could be a good cert room or another room for an apartment, if we can make that downstairs usable. I agree right now, today, the way it is, it's not usable. But we should look at what's it gonna take to make it usable.
Yes, I hope so.
Do you really think it's possible to make that cellar that smells like my grandmother's cellar usable for people to be in?
I'm not an expert.
I wouldn't wanna be down
There are companies
there.
out there that's what they do, is they make basements usable. And until we investigate the cost and why it can't be usable. I mean, what if it costs us, you know, $50,000 to make the basement usable, but it's gonna cost us $25,000 to build on another room? You know, I mean, it's not like we've got a gazillion dollars in the bank, we can just go out and do whatever we want.
Right.
I mean, we've got to live within our means. And if our means is spend $15,000 to fix the basement, that's what we should do.
My concern is the building at 4 Elm Street is falling down. Okay? It smells worse than the basement at East Templeton. There are critters in there, all right? And it's, in my opinion, unsafe. I don't know how we're going to shoehorn people into East Templeton, but I believe it's a matter of safety for our employees. It's been like that for a long time, okay? We couldn't, Mike Pinktank from CDBG, who's here 1 day a week, couldn't wait to get out of Elm Street. I mean, he was packed the next day once he heard it. It's just, that's also a cost. It's not just the heat.
I'm certain that Carol doesn't want to be there anymore. I'm certain that Luann and Diana, they would all wouldn't you rather work together and be together? But she, I can't speak for Luann and Diana, I'm only going to speak because I spoke at length to Carol. Her job is to protect the records. And I think it even says in here, you cannot put the vault in a basement. You can't. So she can't go, if she's not going to be in a basement, than, you know, from one floor to another floor. So it's just a matter of timing is everything right now, and we're under the wire and under the gun, but we have to just think about it
Well,
for a long term,
Right.
like not just tomorrow, but for years to come. It's to be an amazing town hall and to just do it correctly, that's all. Those are just my thoughts.
As, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. But as it may be that the records stay in the vault where they are now, and the people are in East Templeton.
I know how that's possible.
That's not ideal.
It's down,
It's,
she can't do
it's
that.
an option.
I don't even think she's allowed to do that. To leave those records. I mean, you can leave them at night, but that's her job, is to, yeah, there's all that in here. So, anyway, again, it was more like the weight thing of all these cabinets and all these of them being together and, you know, have you not thought of, so I hope that you don't fall.
Sorry.
In the 70s, I was on the Board of Health, and I've said this before, that we had to dig a ditch between the building and the river, because the gasoline fumes were so bad in Elm Street. I don't believe there are two ways out of that building. It is a fire trap. If you went, it'd probably fall in the river, and that, you know, would be a good place for it. If they have file cabinets they don't use every day, those can go downstairs, they can be locked. But I think it's more dangerous for them being on Elm Street than it is anyplace else.
And I know also that building is not, we don't even know who owns that building.
Good.
If it's the federal government or if it's us, right? We would have to hire a title attorney and spend $10,000 to be done. So obviously putting money into the building is obviously not an option to correct it, right?
I'm
So
not
that's-
saying that.
Oh, I know, I'm just saying
Please
that's
don't
why.
misunderstand.
Oh, I know.
They
But I'm
have
saying
to
these
move.
people,
I want to
yeah.
make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah, but just so people know in general why that's not an option. Yes, Mr. Spring.
I think I could point out one thing, that we shouldn't even be talking about not using the basement. Another community which I've been into, their vault is in the basement. So I can't see that as an issue. Maybe initially it may be, but when other communities can end up doing that, I can't see why we can't end up utilizing that building to its fullest extent.
I mean, I can answer that quick, right. I mean, if the Secretary of State says we can't do it,
I'm
then
not
just.
saying that we shouldn't.
Right.
I'm saying the state is saying we
You
can.
can tell them that you
So
have.
how it's there, maybe it was always there, I don't know.
Well, how many town clerks meet all these requirements?
Probably.
I'm saying probably not many.
But you know
In
what,
New
if you're gonna build a new one, you've gotta do the requirements.
Right. And Diane?
I have 3 points.
Yes.
Carol needs to be the first person we take care of. That building is sick. I mean, it's beyond sick. It's nasty. It's disgusting. It was that way when I was treasurer and we were all jammed in that building. The selectmen were in that building, the treasurer was in that building, the tax collector was in that building. Carol was in that building. We were all in that building. It leaked, it reeked, it was nasty. It's not changed, it's gotten worse. She needs to be the first one taken care of. I don't care who goes after that. I don't care who goes after that. My thing is, I don't want to get moved over there, and then, oh my God, we won't all fit. You gotta go back where you were. I'm not moving twice. Not doing it. I want a desk, I want one office. I'm tired of tripping up and down those stairs 6, 7 times a day. That's not good. I know I don't want to be in the basement. I got asthma with wicked bad. Some days I can't breathe walking past that cellar door over there. I don't know how you're gonna get that cellar so it's good for people. I don't think you can.
Yes, sir.
I must have missed something, because I heard a couple of things that I don't quite understand. One of which was in addition to the building.
Well, that was one of the possible topics, not if it was even, not, I would say shed, but kind of a lean-to that stored the vault on its own foundation. That was just one of the options that I think may be cost prohibitive, but obviously until we see the full, that's one of the ideas of previous meeting that had been suggested is we're involved, just so it's
Okay, and the other thing that I also got confused with is that I could sworn I heard, it was Harold, when I thought it first, I mean, it was you saying that it wasn't advisable to put it in the basement, and then I just heard that you can't. So, which is it not advisable, or is it definitely you can't?
We just got
this.
We just
so
got
we're
the
reading it, it was
full
just
list,
based on
so-
conversation.
So we don't know actually, right?
So you don't actually know, so it's potentially, it's not advisable, not advisable. Okay. Number two, the field that I'm in, which is a lot of art museum, most of the museums have their artwork in the basement. So it's all a matter of how you handle the environment. Solutions to that, one of which has already been taken care of, with the new drainage building. You guys give it 6 months, that building's going to dry out pretty darn quick. Also, the third floor part of the basement in there, if you encapsulate that, that will also cut down on anyone who wants to smell. So I don't think that you should necessarily knock out the idea of putting a heavy, large object in the basement.
One of the, and which just surprises me, actually, the Secretary of State's concern with putting records in the basement, while he does mention the humidity and flooding factor. And I'll read this quickly. It says, it is undesirable to locate vaults and other record storage units in the basement of buildings, since burning debris may accumulate in the basement and create a cooking effect. This effect leads to high temperatures for longer periods of time than would otherwise be the case. Basement users are also more susceptible to the impact of falling equipment and structural members, like I said, building collapses. It is more difficult to evacuate personnel from basement units. Those are, so, right, it doesn't say it's forbidden, it says it's not desirable. Yes.
And it's a one-story building. So that debris and the
Oh, right.
talks about is got to be added back.
Story building, right. Is there anything else? Yes.
We're talking about digitizing some of these records, so, I mean, that should be an ongoing thing that we, in the future, it shouldn't be an issue. But to me, I mean, that's.
Right. Well, if you, like I said, if anyone could come up with where the money would come from, we're obviously taking suggestions, but I mean, at this point, it seems like, I shouldn't say this, even right coming up, but, that cost, obviously, right now, Carol doesn't have an assistant, she's the only one in there. There's no money at this point, to get her an assistant, so she's already the only one doing the job, so then to say now digitize 250 years worth of records, or however, a century's worth of records. Again, that would be a great idea if we could hire, there are companies that do that you contract.
She already
that
has,
cost
she already
tens of
went
thousands.
through that process with CPC funding. I think they ended up starting that process already. She's got a grant from the Conservation Preservation folks to digitize some of those records.
Right, assuming either she has the staff or if we're going to outsource that. It's, I mean, that's tens of thousands of dollars to do, it's not a, yes, Carol.
We are gonna be doing the digitized, the records, I still need to keep hard copy in a vault. So even though they will be digitized and easier access, I still need the vault.
Which if they were digitized, that would solve some of the problems, for everyone walk over there and still have access to all the records, but obviously not. Yes, sir.
Isn't there a vault in old fire station where Cerner is, going up the steps? How big of a job is that to get that vault
Do you know?
out? No, it's a nice vault there, it's been there for years. They kept, the town offices used to be upstairs, the selectman's office and everybody else. They have, and nobody suggests that.
Yes.
Even half the people here don't even know where it was.
I think we have Mr. Columbus.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, Bob and I toured that building with Rich Curtis, and I don't believe that vault is, it's like half the size of the current one. I don't know if it'd be big enough.
Well, there's one there though.
There is one there, yeah.
It's there.
But I'm saying, I don't know if it's big enough to store everything.
It's not like it's a steel vault, you can take the door off if you want to, but we were told that the lock on it was not repairable, we put a padlock on it. Right now, the only thing we're storing in there is dispatch records. But that is, well, that's our generator room under it. But it's all cement, there's no, it's not a steel vault.
It's just a solid cement.
It's all cement.
Yes, sir.
It just seems to me like you've got a great base in that basement to to build a secure, fireproof room without having to worry about any sort of weight issue. The digitization is going to take care of the need for the everyday going in and out kind of thing. So I would really suggest that you look strong and hard at putting it in the basement and thinking about HVAC systems and way of air handling. Now that the drainage has been addressed on the outside, now it's time to deal with the basement on the inside.
Right. And this, again, options that come along may not be, and I know Mr. Marco is going to put together that analysis for us, but every year that we are not paying $75, $65, $80,000 in rent, or 85 is what we want, but you know, every year that we're not paying that is again an extra $85,000 that we have. It's just not extra, but it's money that we were spending in rent that we now can spend towards addressing some of the problems in that building. So it may come down to a two-stage solution, to a two-pronged solution where we have a temporary fix that can best meet our employees' needs as well as the needs required by law, but then ultimately have a 2-year plan, or even a 12-month plan, where in next year's budget, that we can find a place to take some money, $50,000 or whatever may be necessary to make, whatever option we're going to do, make it feasible, whether it's, if the vault wasn't inside, if it was outside in a separate, structure, if that would mean that then there would be room for, 2 offices in there. Those are all things that obviously the town administrator and we'll have to look at. But nothing is off the table or on the table at this point is basically it. Yes, Kim?
Carol's vault, like you said, was 9 by 11. Not even taking Carol's vault into consideration, and we measured up the square footage of my office and her office, which falls just a little under 1,100 square feet that we had together. And if you move us over to the new office, and we have no problem moving in together, and we understand the same, probably will not be in the room, you're moving us into a room with less than 560 square feet. So you're putting 2 whole offices into a room that's half the size of it. So I mean, we're just,
That quarter the space.
yeah, it's gonna be very, very tight. And you also gotta build counters and stuff in those rooms.
And then you see something else, right, is we're trying to close as many town buildings as we can. We have to close every, all non-town hall buildings this year, obviously, or even next year, but if we can move that process along and start making.
And honestly, School Street, School Street is an open office building still, and whether we're all moved out of it or not, and I understand the need to move me over more closer to tax collector and financial and stuff, it's still gonna be a heated building because our fire department is still housed in the building. And it's not paid out of the town fuel funds, it's paid out of the fire department funds. So you also have that option. You still have an office building left with now 2 vacant offices sitting in it.
So if there's nothing else, the next item that we have on the agenda is action on doors in town hall. I know that Holly had been working on this, I believe, based on, based on email correspondences. So as we alluded to, the town administrator alluded to earlier, for some reason, we can never get a town hall a door that works, because I can never lock the door. I just have to call police dispatch and say, oh, I'm leaving the building unlocked because I can't lock it. Now we have a door problem here as well, that we can't lock the door, except for Doug.
And the office door won't open either because it's stuck.
That at least we can stand down, but basically the options that we have are to repair the hardware, or to repair the whole, or to replace the whole thing.
2 doors or 1 door plus hardware.
2 doors, one, and do we know what the
Or
cost?
1 door plus new hardware.
Do we know what the cost difference is between those 2?
I got a cost from Parker Glass to replace, it's $400 off of each door if we do it together, $9,100 to do both doors. The issue I'm running into is a lot of people think we should, I know Doug and I know Kevin and Ashley agree that we should stick with the 2 doors in the front because it fits better with the look and it's just money from the Historical Society. I'm fine with that, I just want the door to work and be able to lock the door instead of calling Doug every night.
Right.
So,
And it's also a safety issue too, because you have employees that are trying to squeeze in the back during construction.
yeah, it's going, and I called, I had a couple of estimates from, well, I tried to. I had a couple of people come and they never got back to me, they were scared and didn't want to handle it.
It does.
Yeah, what we could do though is if we replace the back door, the back door is gonna ultimately be our main entrance, because that's where all the parking is now in the back. So we replaced the back door, I've got no issues with that, it definitely needs to be done, definitely needs to be a nice new door. Easy in, easy out from there. the front doors, even if we don't replace them, we don't replace the hardware, if you go in through the back door and then you push the crash bar and turn the, the locking thing to lock the door open, it's still open, people can open it and come in and out through that door, and you never have to lock it or unlock it with the key. So I think, even without having to replace the hardware, you could still utilize the front doors by having the new back door. I do think replacing the front doors would be an aesthetic problem, or not problem, but a very aesthetic disadvantage to the building.
Emergency. If there was
They
ever
can still
an
get out.
emergency.
They can still get
But
out.
it's still open.
You just can't.
If somebody were inside
Yeah.
and you needed to get in and they
That's
had
why
the
it
back
has
door,
crash bars.
you have nothing. It's not.
Just saying if someone had to come in the front door to. deal
If
with
somebody
someone.
blocked the back door, if that's it, you can't even, you can't, no. You were in.
So with the suggestion that Selectman Morrison had put forward, you can get out of the building, but you can't get in. So therefore, if somebody needs emergency, if a firefighter or EMT or someone needs to get into the building and for whatever reason, there's a piece of construction equipment parked in the back that doesn't allow them to get a stretcher in or out or something, they wouldn't be able to get in the front door.
You should have both entrance and exits should be in working order.
Yes.
Before you do brain surgery, did anybody spray graphite in those things to loosen them up? They
We have the
probably.
locksmith there, and
Huh?
the locksmith said they need to be replaced.
Oh, yeah, sure, he'll make money. Put some graphite in it and see if it'll help. I mean, it's, I'll bring it down, I'll do it myself.
So basically, the options that we have now are to not do anything, or at least not do anything that requires replacing doors, replace both doors, and that's the $9,900.
Yeah, from the one that actually gave me it.
Right, and then replace one door and the hardware on the other door would be $9,100, which I might be.
No, he won't do the hardware.
Oh.
He sent me an email saying that those doors are so bad, they were installed improperly. And he won't even give me a price on doing it. He won't do it.
I mean, if we do want to replace the front doors, I think we need to start looking at architectural salvage places and find doors that are aesthetically similar to the building front. I mean, I just can't agree with putting up a glass door like we have on the school here on the front of that building. They need to be they don't have to be historically exact, but they need to be a door that looks like it's been on that building for 100 years.
And I guess my follow-up question that kind of is under all of this, like, we don't have any money. I mean, there's no money earmarked to, so which creates the problem that kind of makes Doug's solution the only solution at this point, even if it's not desirable, because we don't have 10,000. I mean, there's no way that we can take $10,000 from at this point, because obviously even if we wanted, which I don't know, even if for some reason we were able to get funds from CPC, I wish, probably not. But even if that was even an option, obviously that would still take time, and so, for me, that's kind of what it comes down to is the money. I completely understand the need to want to have two, and if anybody wants to make a motion contrary to that, feel free to do so, but yes, I'll.
We absolutely have to do the back door. It has to be
Oh, right,
ADA
right,
compliant.
right.
So that's not an option, but the front door is,
Right.
yeah, question. But can you please vote on something for tonight for the back door so I can, because once they order it, it takes 3 weeks to come in, and that needs to progress, the back door.
So I would make a motion that we approve replacing the back door based on the quote from Parker Glass, but at this point in time, not do anything with the front door.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second
We have a first and a second, any other discussion? Mr. Springfield?
And the previous estimates that were for those doors was somewhere in the $3,000 to $4,000 range per door. And there was more than one vendor that quoted on that, so you may want to take a look at more than one vendor.
I did look at more than one vendor. I had 4 come. Doors Unlimited quoted me about $3,000, but it's for a steel door. They pit, they rust. You have to paint them yourself, and we don't have maintenance to even clean. Never mind do that kind of stuff.
These were doors that were already pre-painted and they had glass in them.
And who was that?
Parker Glass being one of them, and also J&R Glass.
J&R came and they
And
never
then
got back to me.
there was another company, the name I'm losing it right now, but there was 3 of them that came in to look at those doors.
And we can, and that's something honestly, we are in financial position or have money to take care of the front doors, we'll obviously. But I have a first and a second, any other discussion? If not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that door is moving forward. The next item that we have is action on bids for the HVAC system at the senior center.
Okay. The committee, we had an HVAC design, it went out to bid. We only had one bidder. The bid came in at $157,000, which is completely ridiculous. That's 3 times the amount of, what we were even told it would be, based on the person that did the design. And it was like 7 times more than what was actually budgeted. So the committee has voted to reject that bid, so we don't want to award that. So we will regroup and come up with Plan B. So we don't want to award this contract.
Thank you very much.
I think we have to work.
Reject it? Okay. Do we, and what was the dollar amount again? Do I have a motion to reject the only bid received for the HVAC system as advised by the senior center building committee?
I would make that one.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
First and a second, discussion? Not Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane? Yes. And I vote yes. Next is action on bids for Civil War monument restoration. We have,
I don't think Alan's here. They got one bid on that, and because, I think he wants to accept the bid, but because of the issue with the wording for the money for it, we might need to bring up the town meeting, I believe.
so should we hold off on it then?
We want to, I think we want to try it, we want to accept it, and see if they'll hold off until spring to
The bid is $2,000 over the $31,000
Okay.
that the town meeting approved. The town meeting, the wording of the town meeting warrant article, as well as the motion, says that town approves $31,000 contingent, provided that the town secures a $7,500 grant.
Oh.
And then what's a little fuzzy there is, I think it says, the grant money shall be repaid to the CPC fund. But it's not clear that that's, whether it's the entire amount or any amount that is available. So I think we're going to have to get clarification at the town meeting.
Sorry.
The $7,500 that you were talking about is now in that account. So
Is
that
where?
account is in the
Yeah.
Civil War account, so.
Right.
No, I
Oh.
just wanted to let you know that you can't.
Oh, sorry. So is, I'll take a motion then to approve this contingent upon, I guess, the final determination as to whether or not we need a vote of the special town meeting and the town meeting to move forward.
I will make that motion, making sure that the contingency is in there.
Okay. Is there a second? Any other discussion? If not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item we have is to discuss the special town meeting and to open the warrant. We had set the date for the meeting previously. And I will accept a motion to open the warrant. Or however that,
I'm looking at dates. When is the last date that was actually?
The date is
November 5th,
Right.
it's the day after the elections.
Okay.
So we have to backtrack from that date and make sure the advisory board gets the warrants. It has to be posted within 14 days, it has to be posted, so it's a 28-day process. So, how terrible it is. I hated kindergarten registration because it was bad. I think I got one kid in there. So 4 weeks before the 5th.
It's October 8th.
So a month and
All right.
a month.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we open the warrant today, and that we close it about October 2nd, it's a Thursday, and at noon. Okay, does that give us enough time to do all the posting stuff?
I think so.
You think so? Okay. All right.
And the holiday Columbus Day is the week after,
Right.
so we won't have issues with that.
Okay.
So you'll have a full 6 days on kind of weekends to get that out.
Okay, so October 2nd, it closes at noon. That's a Thursday.
And that was the motion, correct?
That is me.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any discussion about opening the warrant? Julie?
Yes.
Doug? John?
Yes.
Diane? And I vote yes as well. So thank you. And just to refresh anyone who is out in the public that is interested in citizens petitions, because it is a special town meeting, they require 100 signatures. So, okay, that's that. Action on warrant postings.
Yeah, I put this on here because for the election that we just posted, Carol Harris reminded me that Cody's Market is closed. I think they're selling, but I'm not sure if they're gonna open again, so we couldn't post there. And she thought that the board might want to pick another place in Baldwinville. I don't know if we have to change a bylaw for it. I just wanted to bring it up so you guys could think about it.
Yeah, is this something we have to go through the Secretary of State's office for elections?
No, it's for our posting in town.
Right, I know, but when we changed the polling place, we had to go to the Secretary of State, and it took and we had to send postcards to everybody. What else did we do? We did all kinds of.
Pretty involved, huh?
Yeah.
I know she's trying to sell Cody's, so I don't know.
If they're closed, can we just take it to their front door? I mean, that may not be ideal, it's at Cody's Market.
I don't know, actually. We
Just put it in the sheet, yeah, kind of like outside the town clerks, but less fancy, just stick it.
We just took it off for that.
That's for time.
But I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, no, I figure.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we need a motion for that or not, but if we're going to continue evaluating what the process is to permanently use that, and go over that, we know what's the case. So it's going to cost us $7,000 to send out postcards for everyone. In the future, we may just want to keep taping it to the front door, at least for now.
Wait till it sells.
Right, exactly. So that takes care of that, unless there's anything else on the board. The next is the updated discussion on Templeton Development Center closing, which I believe we addressed. Was there more of that? We're all done. Okay. Moving along. Next is the Otter River Hotel. Ken Buzzle discussing the tax payment plan. Is Ken here?
No, I told him that it was not necessary.
Okay.
We would not, the board would not negotiate a tax plan at one of our meetings, and this could be done separately by me and the meeting with the assessor to see if there's anything that could be done or would be done to assist with the schedule for payment of back taxes. He's paying, right? He's looking to do some rescheduling, so we'll take care of that separately.
Yes. For as a matter of discussion, have we heard anything back from Talmadge?
I did place a call. I haven't heard back from him, but that's on the front burner. That's on the front burner to get that done. I did talk to him once about the auction. Obviously, we don't just sell them to him. We have to have a posted auction. The relatively new process provides that you have to have an auction of those tax titles. And the question was, does the tax title custodian, am I right, conduct the auction, or is it the town treasurer? It says the town treasurer has custody of those tax titles. It's in fact the treasurer that does it. That's as far as we are. But this is important to get done, and we're determined to get it done as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Our last large item that we have on the agenda for this evening is the advisory board. I believe the chairman of the board, Mike Green, is here to discuss. We addressed this briefly, and I take full responsibility for this fault. There was an email situation, so the memo was supposed to go to everyone on the Board of Selectmen, but it just came to me. I didn't realize that. So in our last Board of Selectmen meeting, I said I'd send it to everyone, and I put the email together, and when I looked today, to make sure that it went out, it was still sitting in my draft folder, so I must have gotten distracted by a shiny object or something and not hit the send button. So I did send this out today, but just, and it's completely my fault. It's not the Board of Selectmen's fault, or Bob's fault, or Holly's fault. It's my fault for not getting this out. So this went out from me to the rest of the board at about 3 o'clock today. So we do have it in our packet, but there hasn't been a lot. So I thought, given that this would be a good opportunity to find what the, because obviously we have bullet points here that have some issues, but then maybe if Bob had any questions, or then we can really get a solution if we, have the.
I did read it late this afternoon, and I'll give you written responses, and also written responses to the tag.
Okay, great. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on any of these so that we.
Well, I guess, the real concern I think we have is that it appears as though there are things going on and not anybody's really watching the store close enough that there appears to be, well, as an example, right, and I hope nobody takes anything personally because I'm not attacking anybody, but in the treasurer's account, if you look at the treasurer's account, the amount of money that's been drawn from the treasurer's salary account, it's at the same percentage as all the other salary accounts in the budget versus actuals. That tells me that there's one of two things, either a lot of overtime or that we're drawing too much money from the salary account, because really, that was significantly more than the current acting treasurer was making in the past. And if you look at our personnel policy, there's a specific entry for that basically says they should be getting $1 an hour more. Again, I hadn't seen any votes or anything that had gone on because of that, and that concerns me, because it looks like we're drawing down a lot of money right now. The same thing goes for the collector's account, because again, they were supposed to be combined treasurer and collectors. We had allocated more money in those accounts so that we could actually try to go out, and again, I wanted to take this person, hire the people that we needed to hire to do the job. Not that the people we have can't do the job, but that was the whole idea. Pay them a salary that was commensurate with what the job was. And again, that account also looks like it's being drawn down faster than what we expect. Okay, so we've been looking at that on the budget versus actuals. Another point is the office salary accounts for both the Board of Health and the building departments are both being drawn down. We all know that it's the same person that's doing the work for both departments. That's fine, except that you can't be drawing salary from both accounts. It seems to me that a job description has to be written to change that job. So that it's an ethics violation to draw from both accounts. You're not supposed to do that. All right, so there's concern there. There was concern with the Board of Health. And I understand what they're doing now. And so what they're doing is fine, but basically what they did was, if you look at the minutes of the June 5th Board of Health meeting, it basically said that the commission voted to transfer money from the office salaries account to the director's account to give the director more hours. Now, there's two problems I have with that. First of all, the first problem is they can't do that. They can't do that. No, I think they know that. I think it was really going to be contingent on town meeting approval. The problem with that is that I had was that those were the published minutes. And, I'll say, quote that I always like to say, perception is reality, and your perception is your reality. And when people see stuff like that, it looks like it's just being voted by the commission. That was against town meeting. Secondly, the other issue I have with that whole deal is that they're authorizing the director more hours. When that budget was originally set, it was specifically set at 19 hours. And 19 hours brought down the level of benefits. And by voting 20 hours now to give him, all of a sudden, they brought benefits back into the picture again. And I don't know if you remember the town meeting, they tried to get more hours passed for the director. So as far as I'm concerned, that's actually overriding town meeting vote. And we can't be doing that. We can't do this crap over the last year, right? And everybody is watching everything we do. And so that's another issue that I saw. And then if you go and look at accounts from last year, you look at, and again, everybody looks at the Board of Health. I'm not trying to do that because there were other accounts, but there was a number of accounts that if you look at last year, they were overdrawn. And they were overdrawn and we didn't even operate a full year. We really didn't operate a full year. So the question that the advisory board has is, who's watching our money? You know, it appears as though we see things happening that aren't, that we shouldn't see happening, that we shouldn't see happening. And, you know, we try to represent the citizens of the town from a financial standpoint. It really looks like we're spending down a lot of money. So, and we shouldn't,
Chairman, can I, since I would prefer to, first of all, understand before these were released publicly, to hear what the advisory board concerns are. Since it's now out in the public, I think it's important to provide some answers now, here tonight. There is certainly very careful watching of the town's finances by the town accountant as well as myself. Some of those items that they have there are simply have been taken care of. They mentioned that there's a $2.6 million item there.
Yeah, and that
that's zero. That's
yeah.
zero.
And it is, right? I think it was just something that was on there, and I didn't mention that because I actually asked that on my copy.
Okay.
It was there, it was listed under short-term interest, and then it was taken out.
Those other items are also not accurate. It is also inaccurate to say that the Board of Health has switched money around. They can't. It's illegal for them to do it.
And I agree with that.
What they have done, apparently, without consulting the Board of Selectmen or myself, they've apparently decided to move the number of hours of the health agent to 20. They haven't moved money around or transferred money, which is illegal. Only the town meeting can transfer the money. They can draw down that account. They can draw down the account.
I realize that.
And when I raised that question, they said, well, we'll go to town meeting. I said, you're going to run out of money in that account before the end of the fiscal year. And they said, we'll just go back to town meeting and ask for an additional some money.
And I realize that's what they did. I looked at it. I've been watching whether it's been money that's been drawn down on the director's account. I noticed no money has actually switched accounts, and I understand that. But when you read the minutes of the meeting, whether they did it or didn't do